Hi everybody, welcome back to Silver Lining. I am so grateful that you're here with me today. Thank you for joining. A little bit about this podcast is we dive into real life experiences that we all struggle with, right? And how to overcome those experiences. Life is full of a lot of uncomfortable times, and you could feel very alone and all consumed with these negative feelings, emotions, and experiences. And I just want to let you know you're not alone. You are not alone. There are so many people that go through similar experiences, and it's important to be able to be vulnerable about these and hopefully help somebody else, right? So that's what I've chosen to do with this podcast, is open up about a lot of uncomfortable things I've been through and hopefully help at least one of you get through an uncomfortable, tough time. So today we're going to dive into the purpose and the power of solitude and the purpose and power of pain. Life can be really hard sometimes. There are traumatic events that can make you feel very alone and powerless. And I want to get into a little story about me, and hopefully you guys could get something out of it. A time where I felt very alone and really like I had no hope anymore. So basically 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And the first time I was diagnosed with this was when I was 15, but it came back really, really bad when I was about 25, okay? And I lost my ability to walk completely. I lost everything that I could ever take pride in before. My looks, my body, my health, everything, it went. And that was one of the hardest times in my life, was just accepting that I couldn't walk, I couldn't live a normal life anymore. I really had to spend a lot of time alone. And in this time, it was really uncomfortable. I also had a bunch of friends before, right? And none of them were to be found when I really needed somebody. My family wasn't there for me. My friends weren't there for me. It was me and my two dogs. And it was really hard. Like, I was so sick that I couldn't stand long enough to make myself a meal. I couldn't go up and down the stairs to do my laundry. I had taken all of those things for granted so much before. And also, I was very frustrated. I mean, it's frustrating as somebody who does things on their own their whole life. Like, I have been hyper independent since I was a little kid. I always had to just depend on me. And this time I had me, right? But I couldn't even take care of myself. So it really forced me to depend on something bigger than me. And I'm so grateful for the time alone that I had while I was sick, because it really gave me the time to evaluate who was in my life for the right and the wrong reasons. What was my purpose here? Is there a purpose that I should strive for, to fight to be okay? And I found my calling in that time. I found, since I was alone with my thoughts and had to really face everything I was going through alone, I got to connect with myself so deeply, and it really started like my spiritual awakening. And I had to depend on something bigger than me. It restored my faith in God and a higher power, because I couldn't do it alone. And although I felt very lonely, I was supported by God and my angels, and that is the only way I got through what I was going through. And sorry, I'm getting emotional, but it was a very rough time. I didn't think that I was gonna make it, And if I did make it, I thought that I would be, in a wheelchair and that my whole life was gone. And I was angry and confused and felt so alone. And I couldn't understand why these things were happening to me. And now I do, right? Now, a couple years later that I'm healed physically and emotionally and spiritually, I can come on here and tell you guys why it happened and why I'm so grateful that it happened. If I didn't get sick and I wasn't alone for so long, I would have still been surrounded by people that were just draining me. It is so important to evaluate who is around you for the right reasons, who is actually adding something to your life instead of taking everything from you. And it could be very hard to make that, to distinguish that when you are just caught up in the day-to-day, duties of life. Sometimes it takes a very traumatic life or death situation to really put these things into perspective. And I just want to come on here and let you guys know that, or let you know to please not get to that point. Please don't let people take everything from you, because those type of people will not be there for you when everything falls apart. And I had to learn that the hard way. People were only around me for a good time and not a long time, and not for the right reasons. And sorry, I didn't know I was going to get so emotional on this one. Jeez. But this is real life. And thank God that situation happened, because I know I'm meant for big things in this life. I know that I have a huge purpose. And I really think that other people could see my light a lot more than I could see mine my whole life. And because I've dealt with a lot of jealousy, bullying, scrutiny, just people really abusing me my whole life. And I couldn't seem to understand why. But surviving that period of my life, also I got sober during that time. It was a lot. Okay, I changed my whole life around. If you guys saw me 3 years ago, you could not recognize me. I was the most unhappy, unhealthy, miserable, faithless person that existed. And I also was blaming everything and everyone around me. And there came a time and a point where I had to face, everything that I was going through. And that time proved to me how strong I actually am. If I could get through not being able to walk, my kidneys failing, my liver failing, my hair falling out, my nails falling off, losing an extreme amount of weight, looking in the mirror, not recognizing myself. Also financially, this was the hardest situation of my life. I was on medication that was $25,000 a month. With insurance, it was like $2,500 a month. But still, that on top of a mortgage payment, on top of feeding myself, feeding my dogs, not being able to work. I mean, I couldn't see a light, right? But there was something inside of me that knew that I was going to be okay. And I think that was a strength from God, because I wouldn't have been able to get through that without solely relying on a higher power. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and it led me one day, the medicines, they were helping me. Like I could limp around, but that was not a life. Like I was still disabled at that point. And I went to an all-natural healer. It's Chinese medicine. Shout out to Holy Care in Westmont. They saved my life. I met with a doctor, Dr. Go. Rest in peace, Dr. Go. You have really saved my life. every rheumatologist I went to, they told me it was only going to get worse, that I'd have to come in every year and expect things to get worse. And when those were the only people I had to look up to for any guidance or support, that was really disheartening, right? So when I went and saw Dr. Go, he was the first person to ever tell me, hey, we are going to heal you and this thing is never going to come back. And just those words alone really shifted my whole perspective on, oh, I can get better, right? Our bodies are machines. They are built to heal ourselves. And this whole, I don't want to get into like the big pharma debate and all that shit on this episode. It will be 7 hours long, but long story short, the medicines were killing me from the traditional doctors here. And Dr. Go had told me, you need to stop taking all of this medicine now, like you're dying. And so I listened, and within a month my blood work came back healthier than I have ever been in my whole life. And I just couldn't believe it. My body was still very weak and my joints were very brittle and hurt still, but at least I got that glimmer of hope and that tangible evidence that I was getting better. And I ran with that. Before, it was very hard to even grab onto something that was like, oh, I'm gonna get better. Like, I really didn't think I was gonna get better. So, long story short, I still go to this day to Holy Care. Now I go and see Ming. Shout out Ming, I love you. I get acupuncture once a month, and I'm on herbs, for the month. We're still, working out the kinks in my body and my organs, but I'm very healthy. I accomplished a big goal recently, and that is being able to walk 3 miles a day without any pain in my ankles. And it's a big step for me. I know that may seem little for other people, but I couldn't stand for more than 10 seconds. And now I can walk 3 miles and walk my dogs, and I'm just so grateful. And I'm telling this story because I want to be a testimony that, oh Lord, that it does get better. And even when you can't understand why or how or when it's gonna get better or why things are happening. Oh, I don't want to cry. There's a reason. God puts you alone for a reason. He does. And he removes people, places, and things from your life that are just simply not meant to be there. And I don't want you guys to have to learn the hard way. I don't. I wouldn't wish what I went through upon anybody, not my worst enemy. But if I could get through what I went through, you guys could get through whatever you're going through. And that's just a little slice of the bad shit that's happened to me in my life. And how lonely I felt. But you know what? If I didn't go through those things, sorry, I'm leaking. I'm leaking. If I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be any sort of the person that I am today. I've always had this strength inside of me, but it took that traumatic event to really open my eyes to how strong I am and that I could get through anything in this life. And I'm not better than anybody at all. I'm not more special than anybody. You guys all have the power to come back to yourselves as well. Please don't let circumstances bring you away from who you are. And I understand that they do at times. And I give you grace through those hard times. Give yourself grace through those hard times. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Focus on the light and pray to whoever you believe in. And I promise you, they will carry you through it. And I think that these traumatic events that we go through in life are really tests. And are we going to dwell and be so upset that those things are happening to us? Or are we going to find courage and strength and power in the pain, right? Power in the solitude, wisdom in the solitude, discernment in the solitude, finding who you are, coming back to you. What I was touching on in the beginning of the episode was there is a point of being alone. And that is to reconnect with who you are. I was so far gone from who I actually was that I needed to be stripped of everything to be reminded of how strong I am, how good of a person I am, and my purpose here. And my purpose here is to help other people and to be a testimony that things really do get better, that you don't have to look like what you've been through, that you are stronger than you believe and you think. I promise you. I didn't think I would be here. 1,000,000%, I did not think that I would be here and be able to help others and guide others to a better place. I really had a hard life and it never made sense, but now it all makes sense. I went through all of these things for a reason. And just like you, if you're going through a hard time right now, it's for a reason. The best part about it is that you get to overcome it. You are going to overcome it, I promise you. And then you're going to be able to help somebody else get through it. How cool does it feel to not be alone through a hard time? You guys get to be that helping hand to somebody else. That's why you're going through what you're going through right now. Don't let it break you. It's okay to feel sad and angry and upset, but there's a time and a place for that, right? The only way to actually overcome these big obstacles in life and not let them define you is to let go of those feelings of anger and confusion and realize that everything in life, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly is for a reason. And it is helping you find your purpose each and every day. So I don't know what I really said on this podcast. I kind of just let myself flow. What else do I want to say? Anything else? I just want to say I love you guys and thank you for listening to my story. It's taken a lot for me to get on camera and speak my truth. Another thing I want to tell you guys is to unapologetically be you, speak your truth, tell your story. It doesn't matter who hears it. It's your truth. You deserve to speak your truth and not be ashamed of it. I carried a lot of shame in my life for the way people have abused me and how I reacted to the abuse, right? But there's no more of that. I know somebody needs to hear that today. And you're stronger than you think you are. I promise you. I love you so much. If you made it to the end of this video, I love you. Please subscribe. Leave a comment down below of something you are proud of that you are overcoming or you overcame. And I want to create like a family in this channel and be a safe space for people to be vulnerable and heal. I want you guys to get to know each other in the comments and just build a big healing community where we have fun and we're open and we cry and we laugh and we learn, because that's what life is, learning lesson. So thank you for joining me. I love you so much. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but I just love you. Thank you for being here. I hope you have the best day ever. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Bye.